So are companies going to fundamentally use telco differently now? Do you think a bunch of companies are going to set up their own networks?
Remember, when you set it up, you're essentially going into the private telco business. You have to hire people who understand, even as consultants or even as subcontractors, the deployment of your antennas, the placement of them, the tuning of your antennas. How many people ever had to tune their Wi Fi setup? You just keep adding Wi Fi repeaters until you get enough signal. There's also, because we're sharing telco frequency now, and telco frequencies in most countries are highly regulated, meaning you've got to use your allocated bands. You can't go outside them. You can't interfere with others. So much so, when you're deploying a 5G antenna privately in a business, you have to get a specific frequency range for it. You have to actually set up a small device that interacts with the antenna and talks in America, talks to the Federal Communications Commission, the FCC, and reports that antenna is up and running, its GPS location, and what frequency band it's using. And the FCC databases have to give you permission. Even if you're using what's called the Citizens Band Radio Spectrum, or CBRS, which is portrayed as the Wi-Fi of telco. When have you had to plug in your Wi-Fi base station and have it talk to a federal agency to get permission to begin operating? Well, this is part of the world we live in.
And why is that?
Because there's frequency is all divided up and parceled out. You can't just fire up an antenna and start operating, because you can interfere with someone else. Do you want to interfere with the police? Do you want to interfere with fire department? Do you want to not have a first responder able to locate you because your neighbor's broadcasting with an antenna in a frequency band they're not allowed to?
Just to jump back a little, why would a company or an organization want to set up their own private 5G network?
Let's talk about a factory. Right now, I run wires. Now, those wires, Ethernet cabling, they're contain low voltage. What does that mean? Well, in a factory, when it's high voltage and can kill someone, those cables are really tough. You can run over them. You can step on them. You can drop an axe on them. And they're designed not to be damaged, because if they are, there's a lot of risk to human life. Enter IP cabling, network cabling. Low power, not going to hurt you. So it gets a little plastic shell around it and they run it everywhere. You step on it, you drop something on it, you can damage it. They put them in piping. They try to do cable runs, but they still have to go everywhere. Easily damaged. Sometimes when you want to get a sensor to a running device, like a temperature sensor, a motion sensor, a vibration sensor to tell if the turbine's acting properly, you've got to have people finding their way to move the cables and walking in areas that are dangerous to be in. And they still have to do it. The other option is shut the factory down, we'll wire it up, and if we make a mistake, we'll have to shut it down again and try to fix it. Mostly they try to do it while it's running. Again, more danger to the individuals who have to work there. And again, the risk of damage. If you go wireless, you can do things like find the safest way to get to someplace, slap on the device. It's got a 10-year battery. You're done. And it's on the air with wireless. Private 5G is meant to be inherently more secure. So one of the biggest drivers for why would you want to use private 5G compared to anything else is security. Number one reason, the belief that its network is more secure. Who's going to decide to go to private 5G? 60% of the decisions will be made by the IT department, not the R&D department, not the executives, but the IT department will make that decision. Who's going to do it? 2/3 of the projected business in private 5G for the next couple of years is supposed to be just three sectors: manufacturing, transport and logistics, and resources.